All
Could
right.
you hide the slides? Is view, go into the view,
Yeah. Okay.
and then like, yeah, there you go. Okay, cool.
Incredible.
Yeah, thanks everybody. All right, let's go to the first slide.
All right, let's run it.
He's like, slide, please.
Yeah, so most of you probably know what Convex is, but I figure for those who don't, we're going to give like a really brief overview. So Convex has a token, CVX, that controls voting rights for Curve and Frax. And in order to access those voting rights, you lock up your CVX, and in return, you get something called VLCVX, which stands for Vote Locked Convex. But anyway, I'll get to that. But yeah, voting can earn you tokens from people who are who want your votes. So they'll incentivize you by doing something called bribing. Okay, next slide, Funky. So the downsides of Convex. Just want to preface with the fact that a lot of these, what we would consider downsides, are intentional decisions by the Convex team, right? They built an incredible platform that has had billions of dollars of inflow and outflow, and it's hasn't been hacked yet. So really amazing what those guys are doing. But at the same time, I think there are certain attributes or characteristics of Pyrex that would be more suitable for this market environment. So one of the downsides of VLCVX is you have to once you lock your CVX with Convex, you have to keep it there for 4 months. There's no way to transfer it because the token is just a like a balance within the Convex's contract, and they don't have any methods which would enable you to transfer the tokens. It's also and because that's the case, it's tougher to build apps for VLCVX as well, since apps wouldn't be able to custody your tokens and enable you to do other things with it, right? And yeah, I think the worst downside is probably having to deal with Alan and Benny from Llama. No, but yeah, we're just kidding though. We do love this
Bad
guys,
guys.
and they work
Bad
with us.
guys.
Yeah, they're horrible people. Are they here right now? Okay, next slide.
Hopefully not, because you're insulting them. They're kidding, guys.
Are these jokes are really sucking because everything is already out in the open. I need to work on my presentation skills where it will show up after you press a button. But okay, so Pyrex. So our goal is to provide you as close of an experience to Convex as possible, but with of course additional utility and other things. But so you lock your CVX with Pyrex, and instead of having a token that's not transferable, we address that by issuing you a token called PXCVX, which is a token that is backed by every CVX that you deposit. So you would never run into the issue where there isn't we would never run into like a debt spiral issue because all the I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but okay, so you lock your CVX and with Pyrex, and you have the right to earn bribes or vote. And so when you lock your CVX, you can get two types of tokens. One of them is UCVX, which is a union CVX token. What it does is you deposit your CVX, and as rewards are collected, that those rewards are turned into more CVX. And or you could get PXCVX, which is a self-managed version of the VLCVX. So, like one of the things we try to do with Pyrex is to provide different solutions for different types of users, and try to kind of think about what they would need in order to just what they would need in order to participate, I guess, in DeFi. Not a lot of users have time or energy to have to deal with all this stuff, which is why we offer something called easy mode, which is what we're also launching. And the idea for easy mode is you just deposit your CVX and we handle the rest. Like we figure out on our end how to get you, greater than or equal to the convex yield. And if you want to do more stuff, then we also enable you to do that too. But that's not going to be released until later. as far as the UI is concerned, because everything is already available via the smart contracts. We're just doing like a phased launch so that we could, hold sessions like this and make sure that everyone's on the same page. Okay. All right. So on top of getting those 2 tokens, you could also, dump your PXCVX on us. So we actually are supporting a curve pool where we're I think probably the only liquidity providers for that right now. In order to uphold or at least fulfill what we're trying to provide here with Pyrex, right? Like we say that you're getting a liquid version of VLCBX. We're not just giving you a token that you could trade or whatever. We're also providing you with the liquidity if you need to sell as well, which is, would love to hear some of your thoughts later on this, but probably pretty useful in this during these times. But in addition to being able to sell your PXCVX and get back CVX from the curve pool, you're also able to redeem it directly from our protocol. So as I mentioned earlier, each token that we mint or PXCVX that we mint is backed by 1 CVX. So because we want to enable that that redemption to be possible. So yeah, you could either sell your PXCVX and get back CVX instantly, or you could get the actual underlying asset. Yeah, but it's not instant. So we do operate in the same way as Convex, where there are unlock times. If you want to actually get the CVX back instead of selling your PXCVX, you just have to wait until it unlocks before you can get your CVX back. And then get more out of your CVX. So on top of providing a liquid version of VLCVX, we're also going to enable you to realize your future yield or the bribe that you're going to get in the future in the present. Right now, like we aren't offering that via the UI yet, but we will within the next 2 to 4 weeks. But at the same time, we're also actively searching for partners in order to be able to help you immediately realize that liquidity too, because you need someone to, you need buyers if you want to.
Yeah, we're working with market makers,
Everywhere.
particularly market make this whole these future markets.
Yep. And because we're not just going to release a product and say, well, good luck. I mean, here you go, you can mint your future yield, and you guys figure it out. At the same time, we also are arranging the liquidity necessary to help you do that. And your future yield is also actually backed by the actual assets that will one day, like for example, if in 2 weeks you have tokens representing bribes that in 2 weeks and you're trying to sell it to somebody, right? We aren't just those tokens aren't based on vapor. Like we actually, the protocol locks your tokens in order to ensure that there are assets backing that future yield, because otherwise we're susceptible to gaming. So every single token that we create or mint with Pyrex is backed by something, and we've just relentlessly tested to make sure that everything works as expected. And then so we're also going to be working with Rari Capital soon. We have calls scheduled with them. I mean, we've been working with their team over the past few months, or been in close contact with them. Joey is a shout out to Joey because he has been instrumental in getting the protocol to where it is today, our Pyrex. And we're really excited to be offering the ability to borrow against your, VLCBX value. And even if use is not an option, we will figure out another solution, even though we're pretty sure that they'll be fine. And so I think the third point is probably the least. It doesn't sound that cool, but this is probably one of the things that we're most excited about is the ability to stay within the Convex ecosystem and be able to do more stuff with it. Because right now, like if you wanted to, I guess, like get a loan or something, you'd probably dump all your bribes for whatever necessary tokens, and then go to like something like Aave or Compound in order to get those loans, right? But imagine if that existed here, and yeah, and you're able to spend or collateralize your PXCVX or future yield tokens in order to participate in those applications. So not only are we going to build it ourselves, we have also prepared the protocol to provide native incentives for other developers too. So because we want to become one of the best ecosystems or one of the most friendly ecosystems for developers to build on, because I mean the builders are going to be the ones that I guess make all this work, because if we don't have anything useful, then it's kind of screwed.
Yeah, and KP, we should probably touch on a little bit too, like what is currently live on Pyrex.io. Like if they go there right now, what are they interacting with if they choose to through the easy mode? Like it would be cool to like walk through the flow of easy mode a little bit.
Yeah,
like what is actually going on there? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and by the way, if anyone has any questions, maybe we should do this slide by slide. As mentioned, this is like our first go at it, so
yeah, if there's any questions about the overview part, anybody just feel free to ask them. If not, we'll just keep moving.
Yeah, we also have we have like a question Q&A, I guess, session here right after we go over easy mode. But cool. Yeah, maybe this overview stuff isn't necessary. I don't know, because I think that one of the things that we would like, I guess one of the things we admire about the Redacted community is your guys' willingness to take out time to like educate other users, like new and existing. So I think stuff like this could be valuable, but maybe not for the workshop stuff. Like maybe they might just be separate sessions where we help you guys have a really deep understanding of this so that you can help others, which will in turn help yourselves. Because yeah, I mean, we do believe like network effects is very real and present here in this protocol, because and I'll go, I mean, yeah, like the more resources we all have, the more value.
Yeah, basically people can just screenshot this and use this to like to help answer questions in the Discord, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
for real. All right, well, let's go to the next slide then. Okay, so continuing the overview and I guess like the benefits, the annual yield we are striving to achieve should be comparable to or equal to Convex's after the fees have been taken out. And we're able to achieve that in a number of ways. Maybe Funky here is one of our strategy and policy guys, and he crafted a model. But he can go into that.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess it's like you have your VLCVX, you put it into Pyrex, and we're promising some value, but we're also taking fees. So the question a lot of you might have is, where does this value come from? And the kind of short answer is, first of all, you get your value from kind of intangible areas, kind of like the liquidity, essentially the liquidity and the auto compounding, and the value from the auto compounding comes from the ability that, first of all, you're not going to have to pay the same amount of gas that you would if you did it yourself, and second of all, because it's auto compounding, users who wouldn't have been able to compound every week and sell 10 different tokens from Vodium and then buy CVX and relock it every time will get more yield because of the compounding as opposed to an uncompound yield. So with kind of easy mode and UCVX, the real kind of the goal, well, the offering is an auto compounding and liquid version of VLCVX, but the goal is really to provide a comparable, if not higher, APY than the uncompounded Vodium awards. And so what this calculator does really is it takes the kind of the key inputs, which is
Funky, is there a way to zoom in on this before you dive into the numbers?
Yeah, one sec. Is that better?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, cool. So what this basically does is it takes your CVX bribe APR, which is like, if you went to Vodium and you delegated to Vodium and you got your, 15 cents per vote or whatever it is, which was the last round. That's the kind of your base APR. This is what we're comparing to what we're looking at. And when you include the compounding effect and the kind of fees that are charged either at the PX CVX level or at the pounder level, you are able to get a yield that is higher than the kind of uncompounded yield. And that's really just through the magic of compounding without even including the gas savings. The gas savings is a bit harder to kind of include because it depends on the size of the user. If you're Tetranode, you're not going to have too much of an issue selling 10 different tokens. Whereas if you're a poor user like me and you got 10 CVX, like how are you supposed to afford like $600 in gas fees, if you're going to sell 10 different tokens or whatever. So yes, this basically just goes behind the math, about how you get to APY, which is higher than the kind of Vodium APR. And on top of that, as I was saying, there's significant gas savings. For example, if you have 10 different tokens and it costs like $50 per Uniswap transaction to sell these, you're going to be saving a lot of money. So I think personally as a Shrimp user, that's what's so enticing for me is the ability to, well, not only like set and forget, but also, be able to participate as a, in VLCVX through a token that auto compounds for me, gets me better yield, and it's liquid. So it's like, it's perfect. I mean, obviously there are fees, but, we're providing a lot of value, which is why, we have this ability to take some of these fees, in order to ensure that Pyrex can continue operating and build new products, etc.
Yeah, this is just a peer look at the numbers. Or look at the peer. Yeah, I just like a look at the numbers, right? I mean, there are other benefits and utility that don't have fixed. It's really hard to quantify what
Exactly. Yeah.
like.
It's like the liquidity or the ease of not having to sell it. Even if just like there's so much intangibles there, but then also you have the concrete numbers for the math, where you can be like, save on gas, saving on the effort of having to compound.
Yeah, and that's why really grateful to have Funky and Percival because they help us provide or enable us to back these claims. And we don't make claims unless we have something that helps us substantiate those claims. But yeah. So but yeah, we feel but yeah, in addition, I mean, we're still going to try to provide you with powerful APR, but at the same time. All right, let's go back to the slides, Funky. If you don't want, unless you wanted, someone has questions or there's.
Yeah, I mean, like the last thing I'd add is, there are other liquid CVX solutions in the market, but I think a real differentiator for UCVX and PX CVX is that its main goal is to be a liquid CVX. It's not bootstrapping something else, a different pool, whatever. It's literally just there to do its job of, when PX CVX is, more is VLCVX with more utility,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And if anybody has questions that you can ask at any time, and if you don't want to do it over voice, like feel free to drop it in the community call chatter thing, and I'll be keeping an eye on it. So just ask them anytime, and I can try to work them in. But anyways, I guess we can keep moving.
Funky. Nice column. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So yeah, what are the Pyrex downsides? Yeah, as Funky just mentioned and is has shown in his calculator, there are fees for the protocol. And I guess comparing strictly lock in with Convex to Pyrex. I mean, actually, yeah, we're still offering this roughly the same yield. So, not even sure where I was going to go with that. I guess like if you're ignoring the rest of the benefits that locking with your CVX with Pyrex provides, then yeah, like there are fees, but yeah, I guess since we are trying to, and yeah, we're able to achieve the same APR anyway. So, but yeah, nothing to hide. Like all the fees are here. Even though I did not include developer incentives here, which is and the reason is because we have not gone to that stage yet. So one of the things that we would like to do later is to, as I mentioned earlier, we want apps to be built on top of Pyrex to help users, do more with their VLCVX. And one of the ways that we're going to be incentivizing that is we will whitelist new developers, like people, anybody who wants to build an application on top of Pyrex, and whenever they direct CVX into Pyrex, they will receive 0.5% of that, so that they can sustain their efforts, without needing to do anything crazy, like launch a token or something. All right, well, we can move on here. Okay, so fees actually. All right, well, it's kind of dumb, but yeah, it's just it's a total joke. It actually is like an acronym of. I guess the point is like we just want to hammer
No shot.
the fact that like yes, we do need fees to sustain ourselves and grow the protocol. At the same time, I do think that cannot emphasize enough or repeat enough the fact that the annual yield will be the same or greater. So I don't know. Like I don't even know if that's like worth. It's worth addressing because I feel like it's probably the chief complaint. And they do seem scary, right? Just like the numbers, I guess. But yeah, like at the end of the day, we have a base value that we'll be providing, and that's equal to similar yield plus all the other benefits, which is liquid VLCVX. All right. Next. Okay, finally. Sorry, buddy. Took a little while to get here. But okay, here's the workshop portion, I suppose. So yeah, we, as I mentioned earlier, we are launching Pyrex in phases, and one of the reasons why we're doing that is because, one of the things that we noticed was that it's really hard to digest Pyrex in its entirety in one go. So we wanted to take the time to, create like a great product and launch it in phases, so that we could take the time out to spend to talk to users and help you guys understand what's going on and how to use it. Unfortunately, easy mode is really fucking easy. So I mean, all you literally do is
that why we called it easy
CVX.
mode, because it's easy?
It's
Oh,
very
okay.
easy.
I was wondering why we called it easy mode. Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why we have all these different modes is because we wanted to, most of the users I guess in crypto are pretty familiar with games, and we're just trying to create these or tie in these different like analogs to things they're used to, so that's easier to know what the hell is going on. So easy mode is really fucking easy. All you do is you deposit your CVX. That CVX is then converted into PX CVX, and then deposited into the Union's vault. So the Union is our partner. Some of you may know them. If you're familiar with the Convex ecosystem, they're really active there, Alinar and Benny. And they provided a service called the Union that auto compounds like various tokens into other tokens. So we're working with them to, on easy mode, to compound rewards received from VLCVX into more CVX. And you could take a closer look at Funky's spreadsheet too, because those numbers are based off of that. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I think like you deposit your CVX right now, you get UCVX, which is a share of a vault, which becomes more. You don't forget about the vault thing. All you need to know is you deposit CVX, you get UCVX, and that UCVX will have claim to more CVX later in the future. And that's sort of like our managed solution for people who don't have time to do more stuff with CVX. And the next phase that we're going to release, called standard mode or normal mode or whatever, is it's going to enable you to mint PX CVX from your CVX instead of use CVX, which is where we're pushing users right now, so that they could yeah, it's just an easy. It's literally called easy mode.
Yeah, like if everything about Pyrex sounds confusing to you and all you care about is just getting compounded yield, just use what's live right now. Like it couldn't be easier than this. And like when the new stuff releases, you literally don't have to worry about using it. You could just stay in easy mode. Like there's no situation where you have to like go back and forth to get the benefits of Pyrex. Like if you just want to deposit and chill, like easy mode will always be there.
Yeah, these fees will also go towards improving my ability to explain things. I'm gonna take speech classes and all that. Thank you very much.
And potentially get a girlfriend, which is like the best part about all of this.
I don't know. I think I could do that with Butterfly alone, but
speech girlfriend.
Speech
100 speech get girlfriend.
So yes, so yeah, that's easy mode. So this is just via our UI. We already deployed all the contracts, and you'll be able to do everything there. So if you don't want UCVX and you're someone who wants to manage your own CVX, like collect rewards, mint future yield in the form of either, so you can mint future rewards or mint votes for future voting rounds. But we'll go into that later. Don't want to, yeah, all through the contract. But anyway, I guess questions time. This is supposed to be an interactive session, and I guess we'll get there in the future. It's just, we're still figuring this out.
Yeah, everybody's being shy. Don't worry about it. I'll ask a question. So is UCVX liquid like PX CVX, or what's like the difference there? Like, does one have a pool and one doesn't? All that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah. So it's not directly liquid, but it is liquid in the sense that you can convert from UCVX to PX CVX, and then you can sell it through the pool. So it is liquid in that sense, but not directly liquid in that there are no trading pairs at the moment. But I can totally see a world in the future where, nobody ever touches Convex ever again, and everybody just trades UCVX, because why would you have your Convex not in UCVX? You're just leaving money on the table. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Someone earlier asked a question, and it's well, actually, this question has been asked over the past couple of days or since we launched. And it's are we going to scale to other protocols? And they called out a couple of ones that we are already talking to or have plans to. But yeah, we absolutely are. I think that, I think we've proven ourselves to be shippers. And one of the interesting things about Pyrex is that it was built with fairly limited developer resources. So once we're able to actually really focus on it, focus the team on it, it's gonna grow like a lot faster than anyone has expected. Also because we have the principles that Pyrex operates by. That is like most of the work, right? Because I do think Pyrex is relatively novel. Of course, we didn't we borrow from we're building on top of principles and ideas that some of the greatest DeFi builders have laid out before us. But yeah, I do think there are novel things or ideas here, which is what has taken up a lot of time. But now that we have them and principles to guide us and operate by, we're going to, like, the time it takes to build any protocol or is going to be like very, tiny compared to what the initial effort was. Like one example that I like to use is Hidden Hand. The initial building of those contracts took like 1 to 2 months, but now it takes us probably like 5 minutes to spin up the contracts. A total of like 30 minutes to get the UI and everything up. So that should hopefully give you a general idea of how much faster we can move for subsequent protocols that we integrate. And yeah, so
Dope. I have another question because I'm just gonna ask all the questions. What is our plan for like the phased rollout? So you could basically consider like easy mode phase 1, and everybody who's like keeping up with CVX knows that there's like a big unlock towards the end of the month. Are we rolling out phases between now and then, or what are some of the plans there for some of the other stuff associated with Pyrex?
Yeah, so we're gonna roll out standard mode in the next 1 to 2 weeks. It's unfortunate that this month there's like a couple conferences, but we're still going to be operating like, I mean, everything's going to be still shipped on time. Like standard mode in the next 2 weeks, just to be conservative. The standard mode would enable you to mint PX CVX directly instead of use CVX, and on top of that, you would also be able to redeem the underlying. So, like the idea for standard mode was you would be able to we would be able to provide an offering that's very similar to locking with Convex directly. For example, you'd be able to deposit PX CVX, initiate a redemption so that you get your CVX back in 17 weeks, while at the same time retaining the other utility that you would have from Pyrex. And that was the idea for standard mode, is like, normal mode is like, the actual, or something very similar to the actual, to Convex.
Nice. So I just had my brain melted and realized. Oh, that was awesome. All right. Anyways, I don't know where that came from. But I just had my brain melted and realized that there's actually like a chat channel within the voice channel that I didn't know existed. And this is where all of the people smarter than me are asking questions. So we actually have some in here.
Oh man, sorry. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for teaching me something new today. So first question is like, what would be the APY for a user that only voted for one specific protocol / token? I mean, that's like relatively normal, right? Like you always vote for the best yielding token or the highest payout per vote. So I don't know if we could give like APY numbers there.
So I'd say is like what Vodium usually does is it'll vote for a mix of protocols to try and get the best bribe per vote. But yeah, I think if you're voting for a specific protocol, it's kind of a case-by-case basis, right?
Yeah, so, and you'll probably underperform any strategy optimizing for cost per vote. So
yeah, I think the advantage of voting for one person is really if you only want to sell one token,
Well, actually, we're also not allowing. So right now, the VLCVX is delegated to Pyrex, and users could override that by minting tokenized votes. So whoever holds those vote tokens would be able to vote, and those votes would pass through to the Convex proposals themselves. And that's how it works right now. So it's kind of like you either get rewards or you get votes. But later, we have been discussing recently enabling PX CVX users to vote as well. So that's definitely an option. It's just that we haven't rolled it out or finalized those plans yet. But just to give you a general idea there.
Gotcha. And
so right now it's kind of like if you, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think I was just like repeating what.
Okay. So
choosing one or the other.
Never answered some of these in the chat, but I just want to answer them for the recording as well. So somebody asked, any risk of UCVX or PXCVX losing their peg or becoming too illiquid?
So there's two things here. First of all, Redacted is committed. Oh yeah, Redacted is committed to doing what it can to maintain the pool. So that's why, like right now, we've seeded 25k into the curve pool, and like that's around $500,000, which is not the biggest amount. And the reason why we've done that is because we have a lot of dry powder, like of PXCVX and CVX, which we can use to help balance the pool. So that's the first thing, is that Redacted will be using its kind of CVX power to be maintaining the pool. And the second thing is that compared to like the majority of peg tokens like CVX CRV or CVX FXS or whatever you want, even like the new MCRV, whatever, because Pyrex PXCVX has the ability to unlock, and there are like varying unlock fees based on the kind of unlock duration. that kind of will help guarantee that the pool will always remain within a certain range. Because if the pool is out of range, somebody could unlock, pay the fee, and then arb the pool. So there's like the
Talk about redeeming CVX, by the way.
yeah, exactly. So like because of the ability to redeem CVX, that will help the pool stay within a certain range, which is bounded by the fees. So with the unlock mechanism for PXCVX, we expect most people to be exiting through the pool because it's cheaper, quicker, whatever. And the kind of unlocking mechanism, I think, will mainly be used really for when the pool is, if the pool is significantly unbalanced and there is a kind of arb to be done. So yeah, we have mechanisms to do it, and it's something that we're actively thinking about.
Yeah, and if anyone else wants to, they can too. Like if for whatever reason, let's say a whale dumps like $5 billion worth of PX CVX for CVX. I mean, I'm not sure why they would do that. That would be really bad. But yeah, that would result in PX CVX being extremely cheap relative to CVX. So anyone could then buy PX CVX and redeem CVX against it. And one thing to consider is that like when you redeem um, CVX by burning your PX CVX, the unlock period isn't a fixed 17 weeks. You can get the CVX that is unlocking sooner. For example, if there's a bunch of CVX unlocking tomorrow, you could burn your PX CVX and get the CVX tomorrow. Um, it's just that there will be a fee and it'll be higher. But at the same time, going back to the scenario I just described, if someone did dump that much PX CVX and the fee is like meaningless compared to the return you would get, you would just redeem the CVX, market sell that whenever you get it, and make a really nice return.
Yeah, it's a little different from like ETH and staked ETH, where like the ability to redeem is a lot easier to reason about, whereas like staked ETH, you have no idea when you're going to be able to redeem that. So it like the arbitrage opportunity is a lot more obvious for people.
The last thing I'd add for that is with kind of like the ability to unlock your PXCVX, given that there's kind of like an unlock schedule for all of the VLCVX in Pyrex, you have like a real good idea of literally which CVX is unlocking when. So I think that's really strong just for anybody who's kind of worried of like, oh, is my CVX backed? It literally is kind of VLCVX in a wrapper, and you have control over that VLCVX.
Yeah. And Joker Frog asked two questions that are kind of interrelated, so I'll just ask them both and then answer them both real quick. Yes, will the specific Pyrex presentation with the slides and rewards calculator be posted on the Discord after the AMA for future reference? Yes. Will there be video?
Rock asked something first, Colton.
What?
I think the Rock asked him something before.
Well, I'm just answering. I'm getting these because they're easy to answer, and then we'll go to the longer ones.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then will there be video tutorials developed for each release Pyrex mode for new users and stuff like that? Yeah. So all of the educational stuff will be released. Like we basically have a month until the big CBX unlock, and we have a couple of weeks until the other modes are released. So during this time period, we'll be releasing as much stuff as we can on the educational side. So circling back to Narok's question, can you mention some examples of possible applications that could be built on top of Pyrex?
Yeah, there are a few that we have that we want to build ourselves, even though that we'll also be sharing and open sourcing as examples for other developers outside of our team. But I mean, just an example of something that we're probably not going to do. But for example, Pool Together is something that it could be a potential application, right, where users would commit their future yield, and that yield could then be used like in a lottery or something. Don't do that unless you want to get sued, I guess. If you're that's just an example of what we could do. Like, I mean, hopefully that gets your guys's brains going, but like the use cases are kind of endless. It's just like, well, what could you do with future yield, or existing, liquid CBX? But I think the most interesting part is figuring out how use cases that are backed by future yield.
Yeah. Somebody asked if the PX CVX gets dumped and falls below the peg, the bribe rewards will be the same, though, won't they? So then the APR for that cheap PX CVX will be higher. I think, yeah, that's pretty much true, just because you have your arbitrage profits to work in as well. And then Narok asked, what will be the distribution of Pyrex revenues? And Funky answered it, but I'll just read it out loud for posterity. So 75% to Redacted, 25% kept by Pyrex. Of that 75% to Redacted, 42.5% will go to RL Butterfly, then 42.5% to the Treasury, and 15% to the DAO reserves. But this is also something that will be, if it's not already, it will be available in the docs and stuff like that for everybody to see. So this will be like open for people to find.
Yeah. Does anyone have questions? Pyrex. Convex.
I think Joker Frog's typing, so I'll give him a second.
Well, going back to the question about the apps for Pyrex, we're definitely going to be holding workshops and going through applications for those too once we build them. We're probably going to get started on the applications, I guess, early as well, right after V2, which is 3%, and then walk developers through that too. Like it'll be, yeah, we're definitely going to be holding like live sessions too, like brainstorm what we built and what should be done and stuff.
Yeah. Right now, primary focus is just getting it all out there and getting people using it and getting people comfortable with it. And then I'm sure, like, as people start experimenting with it, then people will come up with ideas for what you could build on top to get the most value out of it. What is the timeline on PX Butterfly? Soon, TM. Any partnership with a DAO for locking their CVX on Pyrex?
Yeah, I don't think Sammy's here, but he'd be able to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, just know that we're always having these conversations. I think that's the easiest way to answer it. Like, I don't know if it'd be appropriate for us to like say anything explicit, but we're always having these conversations. So don't worry about that. We're on it.
Yeah, we are aware.
Yeah, put your faith in the cartel. Yeah.
If you have CVX, you've probably got a DM.
Who controls the votes of all the CVX locked in Pyrex?
So users could control the votes themselves by minting DFM. We are discussing just having like PX voting, or it's just going to PX CVX. But I mean, that was like a complication because well, never mind. Maybe we need to rethink about that. It's been a little while since we've thought about that stuff. As far as I mean, what I just mentioned with the complications, there was definitely like a technical challenge related to that. But yeah, I mean, right now, in order to override or control the CVX, you would mint tokenized votes, and you would then vote on our snapshot, and that would pass through to the Convex snapshot later. Yeah, but the rest of the votes that aren't used, like we're going to use them in a way that would produce more yield for Pyrex users, and also probably follow like a similar scheme to Vodium while also reducing the number of tokens so that you won't have like 10 tokens that you need to exchange, as Funky mentioned.
Yeah, and somebody asked, what are your expectations for the number of deposited CVX on Pyrex at the end of the month after the great unlock? If we do our job right and we communicate it clearly and we make sure everybody understands what Pyrex is and what the benefits are, hopefully there's a lot of CVX in there, as much as we can get our hands on.
Yeah,
all of it.
Yeah, but
all of it.
Yeah, all of it. The rational actors, everything.
Yeah, we've been discussing, why users would lock their CVX with us, and I think if you're a CVX bull and you're gonna, when the unlock happens or whenever any unlock happens, if you're planning on locking your CVX, there aren't really. Well, I mean, yeah, would love to hear the thoughts of users, but there probably aren't really any reasons not to lock Pyrex. especially during such a volatile market, with a lot of uncertainty ahead as far as where this is all going to go. Yeah, there aren't really any good reasons to lock directly with Convex unless you're someone like Pirex who wants to like offset their the cost of bribes or something.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, and right now, especially times like this, like liquidity, having access to liquidity is extremely important. So like, if that remains true and the market conditions remain the same, like it makes sense to want to have access to liquidity at any time against your locked CVX.
And if we offer you comparable yield, it's like not only can you exit out of your CVX position, you would also be getting a yield that is similar to or greater than VLCVX, and you'll be able to sell future bribes, which would also allow you to reduce risk, or maybe, and also have other use cases too. So we do think Pyrex is very much built for this crazy period, or I mean, crazy period in the market. I mean, even as it is like at launch, and we're gonna keep adding more things. Maybe great to have interoperability between protocols now too, and have Pyrex potentially be the bridging solution between applications.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Ready Bar, he asked, will there be more marketing on crypto Twitter to help make this happen? Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll make sure people know. But right now it's kind of like fruitless to spend like a bunch of time shouting from the rooftops. But we really want to ramp it up towards the end of the month as we get to the unlock, so people know what actions they should take. Because if we like tell them all right now, I mean, it's really easy to forget what we just said in 3 weeks whenever the unlock happens. And then like, I mean, so much could happen between now and then that we can kind of like ramp it up slowly and like do stuff like this and make sure that our educational materials are on point, and that we're communicating about this in the correct way. So yeah, we'll definitely ramp it up and make sure people are aware going into the unlock. And somebody asked potential smooth brain question. We're all smooth brains, so don't worry about it. Will future CVX bonding be through the butterfly side, or will it be possible to basically bond PX CVX or use CVX?
Maybe Never wants to chime in here. I think him and Funky.
I mean, you always want. I mean, our efforts of acquiring and flying up the ranks of the CVX DAO ownership is still there. So both we'll be looking to bond both. We'll be looking to arb the pool. We'll be looking to use these two to basically maximize our CVX holdings. We have a lot of strategies internally that we will be conducting.
Yeah, we always have strats. I think that's most of the questions. I'll wait a couple seconds, see if anybody's got anything else. A bunch of people are typing. What are the next tokens coming to Pyrex? You'll find out soon, TM.
Oh, the ones that make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll find out soon enough.
I'll even buy. I mean, the contracts will probably be done for a few of them by end of this month.
Yeah.
Then we'll probably be audited and then even more July.
Print those fees for butterfly holders. Steady lads, back to Valhalla. Facts. We're on it. Don't worry about that. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all of the questions. This was really good. Thanks for putting this together, KP. Hopefully everybody found it useful. This is the first of a few of these. So thanks everybody who tuned into this one. This was almost like an alpha or beta test for the workshop. We're absolutely going to do a couple more towards the end, as the end of the month comes along, especially as we get closer to that CVX unlock. I will upload this, I swear, by the end of the day.
It's an alpha or beta, but don't expect it to get better.
Well, I was gonna say I was gonna upload it by Monday, but then if I said that, like the odds that I forget over the weekend are 100%. So I'm going to upload it today. I swear on KP's Dev Skills. If I don't upload it today, Pyrex will be shut down, and we will not launch the future versions of it. So I'm just making myself accountable here. But thanks everybody for hopping on. This was super helpful. Yeah, see you all probably next week for the next thing.
Thanks everyone.
This is fun.